So this is for my amalgam video. So something new I learned while watching these videos. So one of the things that I noticed for actually all of them was that none of them use a bond or an etch. They only possibly would use a desensitizer for the tooth. Like composite would use that bond or etch, but amalgam does not. For class 2, the ball burnisher, it's used to smooth the edges. They use like a tall film wire, make like the silver piece, and they like burnish that out with a ball burnisher to put it in between the contacts of the teeth, like kind of to use it as like a matrix band. And I thought that was pretty cute. And for class 5, some used an explorer to contour and to also remove the excess material that was inside the tooth. So I thought that was pretty cool and different as well. So the different types of matrices that I saw being used was for class 1. I really didn't see that many, only one of them that used a mylar for it. For a class 2, they used the Toffelmeyer and the wedges, and for a class 5, they didn't use matrix at all. My first video that I watched used a retainer and a matrix band from the Toffelmeyer as well. I think a lot of them didn't use matrices just because no, not matrices. I'm thinking about isolation. But the types of isolation that were used were clamp, the dam for class 1. For class 2 is also the clamp and the dam. And then for class 5 was the rubber dam, and then a B5 rubber dam retainer. And that one it had the it looked like a bow, but it also looked like it had an additive to it, and I thought that was really cool too. And it was placed more to the lingual part of the tooth. What are some basic order steps for this procedure? So for a class 1, it had that they varnished the tooth 2 times for 10 seconds. Then they gently dried each layered. They inserted the amalgam immediately, condensed it equally, used the burnisher for pre-carve, and then they did normal carving to the tooth and then fit to the tooth anatomy, and then the final varnish. They used the final They used the final burnishing round tool at the end to make the tooth nice and flat and soft to the contours of the tooth. For a class 2, they used a sensitizer, and they gently dried the tooth. They packed the amalgam immediately, starting at the proximal area with the condenser they kept packing using the condenser as well. On that video, I did see that they did overfill it, so then they could remove the necessary material at the end, and they used a ball burnisher with it. Then they ended up using a celluloid discoid instrument to carve the anatomy of the tooth. And then for a class 5, they used a desensitizer. They started packing the amalgam into the tooth using a condenser. They did it to the cervical groove of the tooth, and they repeated it a couple times. And they used a crescent condenser. They also used that crescent condenser that was kind of like an electric one, and they used like a vibrating motion to get it, and then they repeated that. And then they used also an auto condenser, and that one they also used it like vibrating and stuff to smoothen the surface of the tooth. And then 2 post-op instructions tonight, and this goes for all of them. Don't bite down hard on that. It takes 24 hours for it to harden, so be sure not to eat sticky foods or hard foods. Wait until the numbness goes away to eat. If teeth aren't included equally, yeah, if the teeth aren't occluding correctly, contact the office. They may be sensitive to some cold. If they're not sensitive to cold and they're sensitive to hot, to also call the office. But that was it. That was all I found for amalgam.